and welcome to my TV show recaps. I do weekly reviews on scripted shows, reality TV, and trending topics. If you're interested, please click the subscribe button, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, all at my TV show recaps. So we're back with the final episode of the three-part reunion, and all I can say is thank God this whole season is over. We open up the reunion with Meredith and Lisa going back and forth, and Lisa is apologizing and she's trying to say sorry. This is where Lisa decided to lie and say that the reason why she had that hot mic moment was because Meredith called her house ugly. Lisa is so dishonest. I wish she would just stand in, whatever nonsense she decides to say on the show instead of trying to go back and forth coming up with different lies to excuse her behavior. So the husbands arrive on set and Andy asks Justin how much he has actually spent on Whitney's business. And Justin then informs us that he actually hasn't spent a lot. I guess they have two different savings, and Whitney has only spent a portion of their savings. I think that we have to keep an eye on this couple because I feel like they might be going through financial trouble in the future. I know that Justin has just been let go from the company he works for, so I'm not sure that savings or that financial cushion Justin was talking about at the reunion is actually available. So we move on to the boob cake issue, and it seems like Justin is not upset with Seth at all for talking about Whitney's boobs all the time. I do think that it's kind of creepy and inappropriate for a guy that has a wife in a friend group to constantly talk about another woman's boobs. It's just totally inappropriate. But if Justin and Whitney are both okay with it, I guess there's nothing to really complain about because they did ask Whitney if she kind of felt awkward around Seth, and she said no. She truly knows Seth's intention is not to be creepy towards her, so she didn't really take offense to him always talking about her boob, and that was why she sort of made the boob cake to poke more fun and have more jest about the issue. So we move on to Seth's reaction to what Lisa said about Meredith having sex with half of New York, and Seth said, oh, he also had sex with half of New York as a joke. My guess is that Seth and Meredith really don't want to talk about this issue on the show, and I agree with them. They do have a sort of large family, and I don't think that airing, whatever they did in their relationship is something that they're comfortable with. So next we move on to the two clowns of the show, Jenny and Dewey, and they're still talking about their fake storyline of a sister wife. Dewey goes on to say that he's a businessman and he puts logic aside because he wants results. I'm just like, this is why I'm so happy that they're both of the show, because something does not connect in Dewey's brain for him to be talking about results when it comes to having children, especially since Jenny told us that she had about 9 miscarriages. Their whole storyline was totally fake. Their whole existence on the show was totally fake and pathetic. They both brought nothing to the show, and I'm just glad that they're gone. So now we cut to Jen Shah and Coach Shah talking about the infamous arrest. Sharif actually confirms that he did have a medical examination on the day that the feds came to their house. Sharif also confirms that he got a call from Homeland Security. I wonder if they had any inkling that this arrest might be going down, because I don't know about you guys, but if Homeland Security called my cell phone, I'd probably hang up. Like, is this a scam? Like, do I have scammers calling me faking to be Homeland Security? But apparently, yeah, he got a call from Homeland Security, and that was how he knew that I guess his wife was getting arrested. He then asked Coach Shaw how he felt about, the women's response to Jen's arrest. He actually says that it was really painful to watch, and he was really hurt by the women's reactions. Jen Shaw also confirmed that she actually never watched that scene because she couldn't believe that her friends would turn on her so quickly. So a viewer question comes in and asks why Coach Shaw isn't getting the Erica Jane treatment. Now, for me personally, I think that Coach Shaw isn't getting the Erica Jane treatment treatment for a couple of reasons. One, he's a man. We usually oftentimes are more lenient towards men, and we kind of have a more sympathetic emotion when it comes to men. Number two, both Coach Shaw and both Coach Shaw and Jen Shaw are not as unlikable as Erica Jane. Erica Jane came off very, very aggressive and almost like entitled to, you know, whatever money they accused her of spending. And he goes on to ask a series of questions to both Jen and the coach, asking if any of them have ever been unfaithful in their marriage. They both said no. And then Andy also asked the coach if he doubts his wife's innocence. He said he absolutely does not doubt her innocence, and he believes that throughout the trial that she's going to be found innocent and innocent of all her charges. To me, this is almost like a Jesse Smollett incident whereby Jesse thinks he's innocent, but the evidence speaks otherwise. So I feel like they're both in a similar situation whereby Jen might think she's innocent, but with the evidence they have against her, it might come out the opposite. So we quickly move on to Jen and Whitney sort of going back and forth about how Whitney was talking about the case on the bus, and then Jen quickly brings up Justin's lawsuit where Justin, I guess, has an FTC claim against him. And when Jen Shaw said this, Justin looked shook. He looked scared because he knew that Andy was obviously going to ask follow-up questions. So when Andy does ask follow-up questions to Justin, Justin was like, the case has been sort of just out there for 4 years and nothing has come of it, so it's probably not going to go anywhere. And then Andy was like, but the case is in litigation, right? And Justin was like, oh no, the case is just out there. To me, this is a story that we need to keep our eye on. When Jen Shaw brings up Whitney's business and says, what if someone says that you're also trying to hide money by setting up small fake businesses? Whitney's eyes lit up. She also looked kind of scared, and she quickly apologized to Jen Shaw in order to stop Jen Shaw from continuing the line of questioning. So they asked Coach Shaw about Lisa ghosting Jen, and he said he was really shocked. To me, I'm like, I don't know why you're shocked that Lisa ghosted your wife. Lisa doesn't even feed her kids. Do you think she's actually going to care about you, your wife, or your family problems? No. So next we talk about the footage of Jen Shaw's kids being walked out of the house by the FBI. This is where we find out that that footage actually doesn't belong to Bravo. It belongs to Jen Shaw because it was taken from her Ring camera. Jen goes on to explain that she gave that footage because she wanted the audience to see that this is what happens in 2022 to a Black family, even if they live in a gated community. This is where I have to disagree with Jen Shaw. I was like, girl, you put your kids in danger. It's not like the FBI were just strolling through the neighborhood and decided to barge into your home. The FBI has a case open on you for fraud, and they've had the case going on for a long time. So they had the right to search your house, and unfortunately, you put your kids in that position. Andy then goes on to ask her about Stu and what she thinks of him entering a guilty plea. Here, Jen Shaw was kind of shaky. This was where I saw that she really didn't want to commit to answering any questions. And she actually said that due to the ongoing case and how Stu affects her case, she really has no comment about Stu. If you enjoy this content, please give it a thumbs up, share, comment below, and subscribe to the channel.